Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Happiness Club. It's an intellectual forum every Thursday at 4 p.m. on my account on Instagram, Elsobky Hoda. Every week we discuss a new topic, a new opinion. We have with us an international author and we discuss his or her book. Today's topic is about happiness at workplace. And I'm so happy to have with me today Noureen Nasrallah. She's the co-author of the book Passionate Hotelier. Here is the book, Passionate Hotelier. We will be discussing the secret of unleashing success and of delivering excellence, especially in the field of hospitality. First of all, I would like to talk a little bit about her book and her late father, R.I.P. Abdin Nasrallah was a hospitality pioneer who contributed significantly to the tourism industry in Dubai and across the Middle East. Recognized as one of the hospitality legends, he wrote the content of this book before he passed away in April 2019. I'm so happy to have with me today his daughter, Noureen Nasrallah, who co-authored his book, Passionate Hotelier, and who is honoring her father's memory. Noureen, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Hoda, how are you? And I hope all our guests are well and keeping safe in our current circumstances. Thank you for giving me this opportunity today to be with you. I'm really honored.
I want to...
And
Okay, go ahead.
I'm really honored to be with you today. And like I said, I hope everyone is keeping safe in the current circumstances. To introduce myself, I'm Noureen Nasrallah. I'm the co-author of Passionate Hoteliers. The real author is not me, it's Abdin Nasrallah, my late father, Allah yarhamu. I myself, I'm a marketeer. I work in marketing in the field of real estate for over 20 years. And this is what I'm passionate about.
Great. Noureen, I always think of work as work should be fun or workplace should be fun. But through experience, this is not the case. We wake up every day and we go to work. There is sometimes hatred, there is sometimes favoritism. Sometimes we await each other to make mistakes. And the equation is not really the right equation. I personally believe that the right equation is you do what you love and what you are good at and what the world needs and what you can be paid for. I think this is the right equation to reach a win-to-win situation where the organization is profitable and you personally, you feel there is self-development, there is growth, and there is contribution to the well-being of the company which you work in. In your opinion, I like the quote very much, happy staff equals happy guests. Can you elaborate more on that and how we can invest in our people? And the concept of you give more, I give more. I mean, if the employer give more, the employee definitely will give more. If you expect, you have good expectation of the employee, definitely the employee will perform better, or maybe he will outperform himself and his own limitation. So I believe that the more happy the employees are, the more comfortable they are, the more they will be productive. What is your opinion in this?
Well, obviously, yes. The more happy the employees are in a work environment, the more they will give. But what I wanted to emphasize here is that happiness doesn't necessarily have to focus around how much you're being paid. It is the duty of the employer to create a platform and an environment for the employees where they can thrive and they can soar and they can deliver more. And it is the duty of the employer to provide motivation and to provide empowerment and the correct resources and tools. All of this contributes to the self-morale of the employee and contributes to how they deliver their job. And honestly, based on my own personal experience, I see that the more passionate people are at work, the more they give without thinking necessarily of monetary return. it's not only the money that adds value at the end of the day, it's the appreciation and the feeling that you have a value at work that is being appreciated by your employer. That means a lot and makes the employees deliver even further.
Very good. How about training? I believe that training is a continuous process throughout life and that we are all learning every day. Learning does not stop. What is the importance of training, in your opinion, to the employees to keep them motivated, to keep them up to date, and to keep them just right in the hotspot or in the flow of work?
Honestly, training is an important tool that the employer needs to provide to the employees, but it has no value if the employee doesn't have that curiosity inside them. So you can spend as an employer as much as you want on training programs and on providing so many other resources and tools on the digital platform. And employees can waste their time attending these trainings and benefit absolutely nothing if they don't have that seed of curiosity inside them. So as much as the employer would be welcome to provide the training, the employees also need to have that willingness inside them to want to learn more and want to deliver more and want to understand what the latest trends and benchmarks are in order for them to make a difference in their field.
Yes, I agree with you. So sometimes the employees themselves, sometimes they don't have this curiosity, this want to learn and this desire or passion to learn and to upgrade their skills continually. This is true.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. Noureen, in today's condition where we are all facing, all employers, almost all employers, I think 100% of them are faced with the urgency to cut on cost and to save money as much as possible. In your opinion, how can that be done in the most effective way? And which are the areas that we should not really touch? I also like a quote in your book. I would like, if you allow me to say it, I like it very much. It said, change the philosophy of cutting costs to investing in your most important assets, which is your employees.
Absolutely. So, yeah, definitely in these difficult times right now, the employers are looking at different ways to save costs and to ensure that the operational expenditure is not very high. I think there's a lot that an employer can do without any money to still support the employees. For example, like I said earlier, motivation, focusing on the morale of the employees. I know companies where, due to the current circumstances, obviously everyone is working from home. But for example, the line managers are taking shifts and rotating every week to call employees that are not in their department, in their company, in order to check on them and check if their morale is high in terms of working from home. I think that is a really nice gesture from them to do that. Because all it means is that the line managers or the heads of departments are really focused on how the morale and the well-being of the employees are. This step doesn't take anything to do and doesn't need money to invest in. So it's not all about where can I cut costs and how much can I save and what do I spend on in particular and what not to spend on. Sometimes what you spend on is just time and effort to make a difference. But going back to your point, the most important area not to cut costs in, I would say, is the benefits of the employee, because that is one factor out of so many that contribute to the well-being of the employee. So my well-being, for example, comes from, and happiness and morale at work comes from feeling that I'm being paid well, I get good benefits, my line manager appreciates my work, right? So it's one out of three. If you cut from these three, employees will feel dead at work. They will not give from their heart. They will not give passionately. and they will not be able to deliver what you're seeking. I think deliverables will be at a really mediocre or an average level, and will not be on the level of quality that you're seeking.
You are right, and I have here the list of the areas we should not cut cost on. I will just state them. This is also from Noureen book. These areas are staff accommodations, uniform, employee medical treatment or insurance, staff meals, transportation, sport facilities, social activities, annual leaves and other breaks during the course of employment, benchmarking visits like career development, and training and IT development. So this is very good and very clear points. In your opinion, the personal involvement is a must, in a sense that reports are not enough. Managers should, like you said, the concept of managing by walking around. So the manager should walk around, see his employees, see the clients, get the feel and the temperature, the sense of the work and the flow of work himself. And he shouldn't only depend on reports. Reports are so important, but they are not enough. What do you think? What's your opinion in that?
Absolutely, and that's one of the points that my father always used to emphasize, Allah yarhamu, and I used to remember him a lot when I was working on the book on this point in particular. My father liked people so much, and he liked to go out and reach out and speak to each person individually. He knew every person's personal circumstances, whether they're married or not, their children, their children's names, their circumstances of their children. And that personal interest from him as a CEO or a general manager of a hospitality outlet to his employees really boosted their morale and gave them confidence at work. And that's why they looked up to him as a father and looked up to him as an idol and someone they would love to follow in their career, because he made them feel like work was home. And I always follow the same with my team at work. And I always feel that if that personal touch is not there and the relationship is so cold, you don't get anything out of it. And being a passionate person, it suffocates you. You don't feel that anybody is delivering from their heart, honestly. During these turbulent times now with the corona virus, it's very difficult to get to do this because you can't just get out of your office and go and walk around and speak to people. There are no people and there is no office and everybody's working from home virtually. So what I would emphasize on is call others, speak to them on a one-to-one basis online. We're doing something called like e-coffee, catch up online through Microsoft Teams and Zoom. And that helps a lot when the employee feels that there's this one-to-one attention that the employer is giving them.
Very nice. I like the idea very much, and that's the e-coffee. It's really covering for the circumstances. And also I like the idea that to be a CEO, to be a general manager, if you are if people love you, that's a great asset, because I think they will perform better than if they are they don't love you, don't communicate with them, you don't empathize with them, you don't know them at all. So that I think makes a big difference. I wrote about this also in my book, is how a manager to be loved will lead to more productivity for the employees. I mean, they will excel, they will do more than what you ask them. I think
there are, yeah, your book is amazing, Dare to Be Happy. I have a copy and I read through it also. I think your main message is to emphasize that happiness truly comes from within. We don't need to wait for others to validate us. We don't need to wait for any external forces or other people to just check and tick whether you're on the right path or not. You say a lot through your book, and I like and I resonate a lot with the part about your happiness comes from within you. The more you take care of yourself, the more you pursue your dreams, and the more you look after your own interests and how your soul grows, the happier you are. And when you're happy, you attract happiness. You become a magnet to all those things that contribute to your well-being, your abundance, and your vision. So it's very important that we look inside of us first and don't depend on external factors to make us happy.
Yeah, you describe it very well, and that's really a very good point. And that's one of the key values in my book, It Is True. Now let me take you to another point, which is taking risk. Sometimes managers are afraid to take risk, or business owners, they are afraid to take risk. However, if you don't take risk, I think there is a big risk and there is a big cost to be paid if you decide to refrain from taking risk. What's your elaboration on this statement?
You're asking a person who's all about taking risks. And I think my father would have told you more about this. You don't grow and you don't learn until you take risks. Because if you're always in your comfort zone, there's nothing that takes you forward. It's just too easy. And I know people sometimes say, just don't rock the ship. Keep the ship as it is, don't move it. Keep things as a status quo and don't move them. I'm not like that. I'm a very strong believer in taking risks. Obviously, risks that you would have calculated and weighed still, because there is always something to learn and get out of it at the end of the experience. And I believe that it's okay to make mistakes. You will always look back at that experience and say, I've learned a lot from it and I grew further. That's my humble opinion with regards to taking risks.
It is true. We should always, from time to time, go out of our comfort zone. We should stretch our capabilities, get new goals, new meanings in life. I think this by itself will motivate you to work better and to get better result. And maybe this is also one of the secrets to success. I believe so.
Yeah, it is one component. You need to be a person who sees the potential. Why do people take risks? There's something that I learned in my humble experience. You only take a risk when you see a vision or a probability of success. You don't see a probability of success unless there's a vision that you have and you can see it through. And it's not easy. Not everybody gets that feeling deep inside them. So, for example, at some point, someone might want to drop everything and just travel to pursue their master's degree in another country at some point in time and take that risk. They must have seen something or a vision towards doing their master's at that point in time in that city to contribute to their ecosystem. So I would say don't judge other people and don't have a perception. Let people be, let people pursue their dreams. And if you see someone around you taking a risk, that means that there's a vision that they see and they have in their mind.
Very true. I would like to talk about having an open door policy and how does it affect the flow of work, and is it good or bad, and how important do you think it is to the overall operation of work?
That was my dad, and that's why this tip is there. He never closed the door of his office. He was always there for everyone. And by open door policy, what he meant is not only the physical door of the office, but just being there always for your employees and for your team. So I remember he used to get calls in the middle of the night or very early in the morning. On weekends, all around the clock. My dad was always on the phone. And what I learned from him, and I would like to say I took from him, is that passion for what you do. Because his role became his identity. His role became the value addition that he gives and contributes through to life by being there for others. So open door policy is very important because through that attention that you give to the team and to others, you really make them feel valuable and you really make them feel worthy of who they are. They know that they can come back to you at any point in time for advice and for support and for help. So yet you also need to understand how to keep the limits of that open door. It doesn't mean anybody can call you at any time about anything, and it doesn't mean that it's just an overflowing river, because otherwise you'll end up turning into a call center that you'll have to take calls and messages at any point in time of the day. So there is a balance, of course, that you need to keep. And as a line manager, open door policy is very important, but just always keep in mind that balance.
Yes, I believe it needs also a strong personality to make control over that and to make a balance between being open to your staff, to your people, but not at any time, not at any point, to make also some limits.
Absolutely.
Noureen, there is a very important point I would like to ask you today, and you already talked about it in your book. It's about work-life balance, especially these days in the pandemic era, and there is a necessity to make the real balance, because if you are staying at home, how can you make a balance between your personal life and your work, and how this will affect also your personal life and will affect your work? Yes, I would like to stress this point, especially in these days where most of the people have been working from home the last months or so, and now we are starting. The restriction have been eased down, but still many people are still working from home. So how, in your opinion, how do you think we can achieve this balance?
Something I learned over time in my humble experience is this, what they call compartmentalization. So you make a time for everything, and basically through scheduling. You need to have a schedule every single day. Otherwise, time will just fly and flow. You won't be in control. So you've got to be in control of your life. You've got to be in control of what you're doing today. You've got to wake up every morning, feel grateful for your day, and look forward to what you want to achieve today. You can't let every day just pass as is. And if your goals are clear, then you will know when to give time to the family, when to give time to your work, and when to give time to yourself. So you need to divide it by these three. And what makes sense to you doesn't necessarily have to make sense to others. So for example, I choose to make time to my family and kids after 9 p.m. in the evening. That works for me. If it doesn't work for someone else, it doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It's always your calendar, your schedule, and your way of doing things. Somebody might choose to make time for the family through an activity on the weekend. That works for them, but doesn't work for me. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. And again, the time that you make for yourself, mine could be 1 hour in an hour's drive on the road in the morning. To someone else, it could be 2 hours in the spa. So you will be the only person who knows when you can give that time and when you can schedule it, and what is that activity that adds value to your own self and makes you feel satisfied in terms of that pyramid of the balance that we just mentioned. Don't look out to others. Don't follow what others are doing. Just do what works for your own self.
Yes, you are right. And I think, as you said, it is all about time management and focus. How you divide your time and how you can focus.
Absolutely.
Yes. The next question I would like to ask you is about relationships at work. Does it have to be personal relationships? Does it have to be formal relationship, social relationship? What is the right equation or the right balance here at work?
It's never one or the other. All right. I don't believe in extremes. You again need to balance, and you can't be too formal. Otherwise, if there is no personal touch, work doesn't get delivered, right? Sometimes barriers to certain meetings are only passed through a joke, for example, that you say in a meeting. It doesn't mean that you're not being formal. I think you've got to be clever enough at work to understand what tools to use when. So like I said, success is not about just being formal at work or being too casual and open. You will be the only person who knows how to set those boundaries and to set that balance. It has to be somewhere in the middle between all of that, whilst taking into consideration the human beings that you work with. Celebrate their birthdays. It doesn't mean that you're not being formal. Say thank you for a kind gesture. Give somebody a nice gift or a flower if they have an occasion, or if you feel they've worked too hard. It doesn't mean that you're not being formal. Being humane is an element that's very important at work. And at the end of the day, we're here on earth to be better human beings and to interact with each other and create nothing but peace. So kindness is not something that will ever take you down the wrong path.
You are right. You are totally right. I totally agree with you. And I would like to go back to the point of work-life balance. And I would like to ask you now, work from home, do you think that post-pandemic, it will be a norm, or it will be more frequently used in situations like if somebody is sick or somebody is a caregiver, he's taking care of anybody of his family who is sick? Or you think, no, it doesn't work, we have to go back to our offices and we have to limit this remote office to very limited space in our work-life balance?
No, I think what we've learned from the pandemic experience is that definitely there will be a change in life and in the way we do things. We don't necessarily need to go back to the office to get things done. Our life has already changed 3 months ago when the pandemic hit, or at least hit in this part of the world. And it doesn't, I mean, people who feel that they need to go to the office in the current circumstances and they want to go back to the old way of doing things, might be feeling this way because they're outside their comfort zone. But slowly they're going to realize that we need to be agile, we need to be flexible, because the world has changed and we can't stop where we are and insist on being where we are. So for example, I already have Microsoft Teams on my phone wherever I am. Sometimes we now do meetings in the car through the app. We never used to do that before the pandemic. Now we take meetings after 7 o'clock in the evening, or we take them on weekends. The new life or the new norm has taught us to be agile and flexible, and most importantly, to be reachable and accessible, because everything has gone digital now. Your experiences with other people have gone digital, your shopping experience has gone digital, and your work experience has gone digital. Even your humane relationships and the family time has also gone digital. So I think the key word here that we're learning from the pandemic is be accessible, be reachable at all times, because there are no limits anymore. Work has mixed with personal, and all the timings have merged together. There's no more weekend and weekday. Just be agile and take it one day at a time.
Yes, you are right. I think the world definitely will change at post-pandemic. after all we've seen during this period. I think a lot of things will change. Noureen, regarding the favoritism, it is very bad, but most of the time, sometimes we cannot avoid it at work or even in your personal life. What do you think you can give us as tips to avoid this, especially at work?
Yeah, you've got to be a balanced person in order to avoid favoritism. You yourself need to be a balanced person. I think we need to see through people and see the value that each person contributes with, regardless of where they're coming from, what their ethnic background is, or what their religion is, or who they are, and see through the value addition that they contribute with to work. It's not easy to do that because people come with different backgrounds and different experiences to work, and they build their relationships accordingly. And so they judge and they create groups and they favor groups of certain nationalities or certain backgrounds. I believe my only advice would be to really grow above it.
Noureen, can you hear me well? Because the video has been paused from your side. Or maybe from my side.
I can hear you well.
But you can hear me? Okay. You can hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a concept I read in your book that I like very much. And it is about when you go to the work, as if your personal life is kind of a bag that you are carrying with you on your back. So whenever you go to work, you just put off your bag and put it aside at the door side. And when you finish work and you are going back home, you take your bag. I like the metaphor very much. You take your bag and you just go back home. How can you do it? Is it easy to do this?
It's not easy, no. When my father wrote this, he always used to speak about this tip. And he always used to say, the moment you enter at work, you need to completely switch off and forget everything that was at home or all your personal issues and problems. He always used to talk about this. And it's definitely not easy. It takes time to have a mindset that allows you to switch off and on in the right time, and not to allow your personal circumstances to get in the way of what you're trying to deliver at work. It's not easy because it's part of who you are as a human being. We're all psyches that are made of emotions, and our souls have experiences that they go through. You can't just forget an experience and focus at another just like that. So back to your question, no, it's not an easy thing to do, but it takes strength and focus to be able to do that and not mix your personal issues with your circumstances at work.
Great. Noureen, there are many points I would like to discuss with you. So you choose 2 points. I will tell you these are like concepts of encouraging team spirit, value the people behind the scenes, and I like that one very much. And don't pointing your finger, concentrate on your job, embrace the excitement, embrace people and relationship, benchmark your progress, innovate and create. What are your best 2 tips in these many concepts to unleash success, to deliver excellence, and to realize happiness at workplace? If you choose 2 of them and we discuss them now.
Yeah, I really like 2 that mean a lot in my professional experience. One is appreciate people who are behind the scenes, and the second is people. I'll start with the first. People are behind the scenes, never and because very taste
Not very clear.
now, so we bring your coffee, and we don't put a nurse who is just sitting home waiting for patients to come in. They're behind and want to be being there, and it means a lot to them. For example, and one was embrace people and different parts. I'm very much a people person, and I just that the more you embrace different backgrounds and different nationalities and use them and learn them, you also grow. So I ask questions about what they're eating, what food they have, how festive occasion, and like because it's always I do.
The voice is not clear.
That makes me learn more.
I'm not sure if I heard you well because the network was not very good. So, do you hear me? Hello? Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Anyway, the voice is not very well. So I will end up with the quote that I liked very much. And that quote, it's a beautiful one of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And he said, the fastest way to happiness is instilling happiness in the hearts of others. And I think that that's the best quote we can end our talk today. Thank you very much, Noureen. It was a really fruitful discussion, very fruitful, and we had many information about the concept of happiness at workplace and how can we be delivering excellence and how can we unleash success and go to our full potential. Thank you very much, and see you next Thursday live for the Happiness Club for a new insight, new book, and a new author. Thank you, Noureen.
I appreciate appreciate the time given me today, and I wish everyone a successful and this opportunity is available for our actions.
It seems we have a network problem. I will end up with Noureen now. And see you next Thursday at 4 p.m. For a new topic, a new book, a new discussion. Thank you for joining in, and see you. Bye.